Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hi, it's time for another BumbleKast, and I have no other ideas for intros other than just saying hello. So, hello, Ian.
Hello, Kyle.
Hello. We are here. We have questions, a lot of them.
And they come from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
Oh, is that where these come from?
Indeed, indeed.
Well, that's terrifying. All right. Well, I guess I won't beat around the bush anymore trying to hold off on these questions. Because
leave that bush alone.
The inevitable flood, we will be overtaken by questions. Actually, we already have been. We've been drowning in questions for years now.
Considering the format of the show, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I suppose. Either way, let's try and see if we can swim our way out of this pile of questions right now. Starting with this one from Andrew D. In the comic Fang's Big Break, Fang claims he went after the Master Emerald 3 times, and we see flashbacks that look like they took place while Knuckles was moving the Master Emerald. Were these references to anything specific? Was Knuckles moving it each time to hide it from Fang, or is this perhaps a hashtag knowing smile for something yet to be revealed later?
Nope.
Nope to what?
All of it.
Okay.
It's Fang went after the emerald and Knuckles noped him out of it. Nothing more than that.
No reference to anything. It's just a thing. It's just the framing device you used.
Pretty much.
It's just.
I mean, there's a little bit of a nod to Mania Adventures. There's a little bit of a nod to the setup that now it's on the Shrine and Superstars, but there's no deeper lore. There's no hidden story. There's no behind the curtain. It's a setup.
Knuckles pop that weasel right in the face.
Jerboa, but nice try.
3 times. He was a weasel before.
At one point.
He got
but not anymore.
He got unweaseled.
The magic of retcon.
He got unweaseled eventually. You unweaseled him. That's okay. He's always kind of a weasel, you know? Not like a physically a weasel, just like a that's his personality. He's a bit weaselly, you know? Anyway, he's a weasel in spirit. He's an honorary weasel.
Has the badge and everything.
Ben R. has a question. One morning, Sage wakes up and finds her father's lifeless body lying on the floor of the base. Eggman has died of a heart attack. Wow, that escalated quickly. Due to recent similar events involving criminals, it could be the one they call Kira. Being a sentient AI with access to the entire Eggnet, is Sage able to hunt down the murder? Or does Light Yagami manage to mind trick his way out of this one too?
Oh no, Kira's dead. Like, the reason my Kira got away with so much is because nobody even considered supernatural powers. Like, nobody said, hey, maybe it's a Shinigami. Sage, however, is going to go through her father's list of various Eldritch things that he tried to find and utilize at some point. And go, oh, plan number 765B. Find a death note from a Shinigami, write Sonic's name in it, laugh a lot. Let's see. Who's within this certain vicinity? Who knows father's name? You know, who can I tap into via various hacking devices and see them working on their notebook? Who will take that potato chip and eat it? No, she's got him. It'll take her a bit, but she'll get him.
I had to Google this real quick because I'm like, what is this question talking about? But I figured it out. Okay, it's Death Note. It's a Death Note reference for any of you guys who were like, what? And if you're like, what after Death Note, then I don't know what to tell you.
Give it a watch. It's fun.
I mean, sure, it's called Death Note. That makes it super fun. That's how you know it's fun.
And I'll tell you what I told a friend of mine. He was on the fence over watching, and I'm like, watch it, but at a certain point, you're going to think they completely lost their minds and completely dropped the ball on the tone and the character direction and the plot. Stick with it. It's worth it. And he got to that point and was like, he said to keep watching, and he did, and I was right, and he loved it.
Okay. All right. Fine. Anyway, Chaos Sonic 1 has a question. With Sega obtaining Rovio Entertainment, that begs the question, How would you make a crossover between Sonic and Angry Birds?
I don't know.
The pigs team up with Eggman.
Maybe. It depends on which version we're talking about, like game version or movie version for either.
Yeah.
Are we mixing and matching? Are we keeping cinematic universes? What form are we doing? How in depth do you want it? I don't know. There's too many variables.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's the Flickies and Angry Birds crossover. That's what it is. Not Sonic, just Flickies. It's fine. Here's a question from Crab. Sonic and Eggman have plenty of similarities, especially in the ego department, though how it manifests is different. And the Doctor must have at least rubbed off on Sonic a little bit, but what with him chasing him since however old he was in Sonic 1. So getting to the point, Sonic's laugh is a cackle to match the Doctor's own. How do the cast react to it the first time they hear it?
Terror and confusion.
I mean, yeah, I suppose.
I mean, when you think about it, Sonic doesn't really like laugh out loud all that much. He'll chuckle, he'll do a heh, but an actual like belly laugh, he doesn't do that very often. And when he does, it's one of, merriment and mirth. Eggman, he laughs as like a sign of power. It's a posturing gesture.
Eggman's laughing is one of his hobbies.
Yeah, it's a signature like call to arms.
Yeah,
that's not something you just trot out for funsies. That's not, I got in line before the drive-thru filled up. No. Eggman is, you see your enemy assembled before you and they don't notice the landmines beneath their feet. No! Although, to be fair, if we're talking exclusively Eggman, if he were ahead of everybody else in the drive-thru, he would trot out the same laugh. But that's Eggman.
I was going to say, that's like literally every time Eggman laughs, he would laugh like that. That's like just his signature laugh.
Ooh, I got an extra chicken nugget.
Yeah. But that's what makes the character swap episode in Boom so good, though, is the Sonic doing Eggman's laugh. And stuff like that. It's like, oh man, they had a ton of fun on that one. I love that one. All right, next question is from Dawson the Dachshund. As a true Sabrina the Teenage With fan, I assume they mean witch fan, I've got to ask, Ian, why do you hate Salem? What did the cat ever do to you?
I beg your pardon? How was that misconstrued? How badly did I misspeak?
I'm pretty sure. I feel like this is like they're making a kind of joke-ish.
You don't joke about that sort of thing. Salem's my boy.
You don't joke about Salem?
Hating Salem? No. Are you mad? He's a sassy magic cat.
Yeah,
that's required by law to love and adore.
Yeah, but
you have to love Salem.
But he's also like evil. He's been condemned to be that cat because he was evil.
But in the fun way.
Oh, okay. Like Starline?
Even beyond that, I mean, like if you think about it, technically, Captain Jack Sparrow is evil. I mean, he murders people, he robs ships, he plunders, he loots, he leads people astray from the virtuous path. He's a bad man. But we love him.
Yeah.
Salem's got that swagger. Salem is fun. No, Salem is great. I want to write the most Salem.
Yeah. Okay, fine. If you don't actually hate Salem, then why do you hate Sabrina?
No, she's fine.
Okay, good. Just checking.
And she gets in the premium kibble. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Then why do you hate Tails? Wait, hold on.
Well...
DDR Master M has a question. To keep the crack ships coming, do we have to? I'm stealing this idea from Sylvia Nexus. Vanilla X Gardon. How might this pairing work out?
I mean, who's to say it doesn't already? Long distance relationships are hard, but Gardon's a stand-up guy, has a solid job, prestige, and Vanilla keeps the homestead in check. Who's to say they aren't already? You can't prove it.
Yeah, it's true. Dev has a question. Do you think the shadow portion of Sonato Generations will be lengthy, like at least longer than Forces, a game you can beat in 2 hours?
I cannot talk about game material before it's out.
Well, we know it will be at least as long as Sonic Generations. Here's one from Domino. Do you have any tips for writing an enemies to friends to lovers arc for 2 characters?
Speaking very broadly, don't start out with them being like mortal enemies. Like, for whatever reason they're at odds, don't make it too bad. Like, if character A is like, you killed my father and spit on his grave, and character number 2 is like, yeah, and I'll do it again. That's a bit of a rift that I don't think can be reasonably mended. But if it's like, you stole that last chicken nugget, yes, I did, and I do it again, that you can work past. You can grow from that. That can be healed.
I don't know. If you stole my last chicken nugget, I don't know if I could ever forgive anybody for that.
It all depends on the characters, Kyle. This isn't self-evaluation.
Okay.
Like, maybe there is a misunderstanding between them. You know, they think there's some great wrong between them, but oh no, they were mistaken. Or they just have very different viewpoints on a matter. And as the story continues, they come to realize the validity of each other's view, or how there is a third option that they can agree upon, whether it's a greater evil that they can confront, or it's a solution that they can both agree on. You know, and this doesn't necessarily mean like an actual tangible goal. This could be philosophical. This could be personal. I'm, again, speaking very broadly. And then once they have gotten past the animosity, what is it about them that brings them together? Is it the fact that they are, completely different polar opposites, and that's what attracts? Or is it that they're very similar, they're just different sides to the same coin, and they find that mutual understanding and respect as it comes along? When they have gotten past the I hate you part, it's more like, oh yeah, all right, you ain't too bad. And then once you've reached that point and they're like, okay, you're pretty cool, then you just build from there. It's like, okay, so maybe you're more than a little cool, maybe you're also, I don't know, kind of hot. you want to like get some chicken nuggets, and then you go from there.
Now do idiots to lovers.
Kyle, you can't cut in line. You have to pay your $5 like everybody else.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Here's one from SB. I just wanted to know the insider scoop on your solution to the eternal problem all creatives have. Organization! Every time I sit down to write, draw, or just create in any capacity, I find it difficult to manage all the moving parts I'm working with. All the programs, files, and devices I use to work on, no matter how well they sync up, all end up confusing me in some form or another. So how do you do it? What workstation, software, etc. do you personally use? Please be as granular and as detailed as possible. I'm struggling out here.
I have something slightly better than file by pile. I don't know if it's the best. It works 90% of the time for me.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time coming. But basically, I mean, actually, let me pull this up. Desktop. See, if it's on the desktop, there's the base level. Can't look for it anywhere else. It's on the desktop, and it's just on one device. I have the one working laptop.
I just don't use my desktop for anything. That's like the worst place to put things, honestly. But
in my mind, that's the foundation. That's the base level. Because if I put it in my documents folder, it's lost forever.
Okay,
those are the catacombs that are looked after by top men, type of thing.
my desktop is fully clean because I know that if anything happens, at least there's nothing on the desktop that'll get wiped away. That's kind of that's the thing that I'm most concerned about. But
on my desktop, the way I have it arranged, on one side of the screen, I have all the programs that I use the most. Stuff that I don't want to go hunting through the programs file, or for whatever reason isn't already on the taskbar. That's where those are. And then on the other side of the screen, I have all the folders for the various arranged stuff. Work folder, personal folder, bills, what else is over here? Reference files, stuff for individuals in my life, and any documents that I go to daily are there. So all I have to do is open up the laptop, boom, that's the file right there. Go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that's kind of pending, like a receipt for a delivery that's on the way, or something that's going to be worked on later on, but I don't necessarily need it immediately, that's all arranged in the middle of the screen because that's going to go away eventually. That makes sense in my mind.
Sure.
It may not make sense for any of you, but what part of it is finding out what works for you.
Yeah.
Now, the primary file here on the desktop was a file I made to consolidate all the various files and folders I had around to back up for security reasons. That folder is called Backup December 2013.
Yep.
I have still been pulling from that for over 10 years now. But I can't rename it because I know what it looks like now.
Yeah.
I don't actually read the words. I just know what that looks like, so I know what to click on it.
That's true. That's why I got stuff from like BumbleKast. It still says 2022, 2021.
Yeah.
Like templates that were made those years for things. It's like, oh, they still say that. All right.
Now, within that central folder, I have a work folder and a folder for Bumble King related materials.
Yep.
That's it. Like it's kind of an ever-growing nesting tree of folders. And within the work folder, I have folders organized by clients. And within those folders for each individual project. And within those folders, a folder for any business files, contracts, invoices, whatever. If there are projects within projects, so like for, what can I talk about safely? Like for Frontiers, there's a folder for Frontiers as a project on a whole.
Yeah.
And then one folder for the game stuff, one folder for the animation stuff, one folder for the promotional stuff, and so on and so forth. So that I know, okay, what was the project on a whole? Frontiers. All right. What was the project specifically? It was the game. Okay, that's going to be in this folder, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
The Bumble King folder is not quite as disciplined. There's a folder dedicated to the BumbleKast.
Yeah.
There's one dedicated to website resources and materials. There's one dedicated to Drogoon, one to Claus McGee. There's a whole bunch for other projects that are kind of starving, begging for attention. I don't know when I'll ever touch those again. And then a whole bunch of loose projects that, I got 2 paragraphs into because I wanted to get that idea down. And I'm looking at these file names going, what the hell was this?
It's just folders all the way down. Folders everywhere.
So I try to break it down to almost like a bullet list, find the most common denominator and then nest everything from there so that when you invariably forget where you put something or what you were working on, or it's been a year and you need to reference it, you have the most basic idea that you can go back to and go from there. I'm also notorious for thinking, oh, this makes sense right now, and then coming back to it later going, why did I think this was even logical? Why did I put this here? Or, oops, I put it in the wrong folder. Never going to find that again.
Oh, boy. People are saying they feel called out.
There's also the fun bonus variable where I haven't worked on something in forever. I need to free up hard drive space, so I move it to the backup hard drive.
Yeah.
I forget I move it to the backup hard drive and spend an hour searching through files trying to find something that's not there anymore.
Not there anymore? Yeah. New folder within the new folder 2. New folder 3 that's somehow within new folder 4. Oh, how did all this happen? Picture final for real this time. My image and my image 1. Oh man, it's a mess.
Now, if you're working on multiple devices, that's beyond my scope.
Syncing, buddy.
But I don't need multiple devices.
Cloud storage.
But I still feel like my method is something to at least in principle follow.
Yeah.
Because if you're always saving your stuff to one place, be it on the cloud or a singular device that you're always sending it to, you know it will be there. Rather than, did I save it on the tablet? Did I save it on this? Did I save it on the backup drive? Always save it to one place. Safety save it elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then be mad because you opened up an older version of the file and have to go back and redo things. But as long as it's one place, you can always find it again.
Hopefully. Yeah. You know what they say? Always have 3 backups. It's not that easy, though. Not that easy.
No.
It's a lot harder. But, yeah, my workflow is basically, I have a hard drive that's dedicated, like for dedicated scratch work. That's like where all the recordings go. Like that's where audio files and that of shows and stuff, they get recorded to that drive, and then video gets exported to that drive and rendered to it. And then from there, I will organize it into a cloud storage folder on Google Drive. But also, I do have that scratch drive backed up and syncing to my home server. So I have stuff synced across my home server and my cloud storage, and they're all the same version. So, and I can also go back to different versions without having to, without them getting out of sync. So, like if I screw something up and need to go back to something, it's not like it's gone forever across the 3 different versions. It's just all synced together. So, and my home server is got quite a few hard drives in it. Some of them are getting pretty full. So I should probably do something about that. And yeah, that's basically kind of how I have things set up. I keep all my main programs pinned to my start menu. The programs that I need and use the most are pinned on the taskbar, but then everything else that's not quite as needed quickly is on my start menu. I don't keep anything on the desktop because to me the desktop is kind of ephemeral. If something were to happen to my system and it like went away, I'd assume everything on the desktop was gone. So I don't keep things on the desktop. As far as everything else goes, I just have like a dedicated drive, scratch drive. That's first of all, it's fast. So that way, any sort of rendering or streaming, like video stuff that's done to it, I don't have performance issues of it, like the hard drive being too slow to handle it or whatever. I mean, that's probably not really an issue, but, you know, it's just there. So, and then I have my home server for long-term storage, backup, and basically as a second place to keep things. And then I have all that synced between my system and the server using a piece of software called Sync Thing that lets you sync folders on between the 2 different systems. So, and that's how I keep it. Try and keep things going. So, scratch folders divided between audio and video, and each one has BumbleKast, and then a dedicated folder for BumbleKast Minis, and then NGI, and then videos is mainly just BumbleKast stuff. So, because that's all I work on for videos mainly. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I have things working. Let's move on to the next question here from JR Unbound. Boosting a question from the Sith Saiyan. With the Sonic Generations remaster being titled Sonato Generations, and with the release of a Shadow costume in Sonic Superstars, meaning Sonic has now canonically been inside Shadow, do you think Sega might be hinting that there?
A Saiyan being a Sith is actually kind of terrifying when you really think about it.
Don't, Ian.
Like the almost limitless growth potential, plus the ability to kind of manipulate the world around you. It's not like you need clarity of mind necessarily. I mean, the dark side is all about giving into your passions and desires. So, like Vegeta by himself, even especially pre-redemption arc, would be just absolutely catastrophic. He's already a planet ender.
Ian,
good God,
Ian. The microphone is trying to stop you, first of all. Second of all, You're not answering the question.
There was a question?
Yes.
All I heard was, Ian, don't let me contribute to the BumbleKast anymore. I don't like working on BumbleKast. Is that what you want, JR?
I like how the mic is dying. Better unplug it and plug it back in, the usual. Okay, so you're not answering the question. Got it.
You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but I don't know what you're thinking.
Oh, you know exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, okay, fine. If you say so. Fine, we'll move on to this question from Jay. Perhaps a fluke or cosmic accident. Tails now has the Speed Force after having the same event happen to him that happened to Barry and Wally. What does he do as the undisputed king of speed? Could he even tell Sonic? Would he be afraid of hurting his feelings? What if Sonic finds out?
I don't think they have that kind of hang-up. I think Tails, realizing that he is now super speedy, would be proud of this fact and would want to show it off. Look, Sonic, I can now keep pace with you. I can maybe even go further. And Sonic's like, whoa, that's awesome, dude. I'm so proud of you. Let's race. Huh, you are faster than me. Guess I'm going to have to learn to go faster. And it would be incredibly wholesome, and they would be supporting each other, and it would be good.
Oh, man. I guess it would be in the Boom universe where it's Sonic's nightmare episode.
Only because the Speed Force catches like a cold.
Oh.
So Tails sneezes, and now Knuckles has the Speed Force. And he sneezes, and now Amy has the Speed Force, and everybody's like running into walls and crossing oceans by accident. Hey, Sonic, you want papayas? I got him from the last island.
Oh, no. Now everyone's overpowered.
Sonic forcibly quarantines Eggman because he just cannot stand the idea of Eggman getting his powers.
Yeah.
Until he sneezes and realizes that he's patient zero.
Oh, no.
And Eggman uses his new super speed to steal the last chicken nugget. Hey, Sonic, you're too slow. No!
Oh, no. No, my nuggets. Many Hats has a question. Do you smile because you know, or do you know because you smile?
A little column A, a little column B.
I don't know. I think the answer to this question is yes. Here's one from Moreless. How would a fight between Sally and Nicole, post-Genesis Wave specifically, and Rough and Tumble go? Don't hold back on the comedic aspect, Ian. I want you to go as wacky as possible for this clash of ages.
Initially, Sally's going to be overthinking the issue and try to take them as a serious threat.
They are not.
And because she is overcompensating for them, they actually manage to become a viable antagonistic force. And Nicole is trying to get through to her, like, I think you're overthinking this. Or perhaps even Nicole's overthinking it as well. Like, here is this incredibly synchronized duo. She will run the models. She will plot the courses. She will analyze their horribly bad rap and try to figure out what kind of nuance is there until they realize, no, they're just dumb meatheads that are having fun together.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no greater science to it. It's just, they're very Sonic-like. They live in the moment. And once they realize that, and they can get over themselves, then they're in sync. Then they're going to have fun too. These guys are complete dunderheads.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a real threat. They can actually have fun. And then they completely trounce the two of them.
Yes. So they're like Sonic, except dumber, if that's possible.
Hey, now.
All right. Mixer17 has a question. Sega is allowed to bring all the Freedom Fighters and any family members of the game cast from the comics back, both for the new comics and games if they choose, and 3 groups of villains or 3 individual villains. But whatever your least favorite ship, that isn't inherently problematic, for Sonic, Shadow, and Amy, have to not only be made canon, but played in a way that you absolutely hate. No, you don't have to say them, and if they all involve the same person, go with the next least favorite ship. Do either of you go for it?
Well, you'd go for it just to troll people.
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
I mean,
What?
merciful of you to say don't name that ship, because the minute I'm like, yes, I don't endorse that particular ship, in comes Armageddon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of like any. Trying to think of any that
I don't
I
know.
outright hate, like that aren't like weird and like they say problematic. But I'm like, I mean, I just don't care.
I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat, har. I can't immediately think of any pairings that I like would absolutely hate to work on. Again, none that are not problematic.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't make sense to me personally, or maybe I don't find that to be an entertaining dynamic, but
Yeah.
for the virtue of gaining so much material, I don't know, part of the challenge is to find what's enjoyable about it. What is it that does work? Figure that puzzle out and do. So, yeah. Let the monkey's paw curl.
Sure, why not?
Take that one on.
Sure, why not? The face ship was a big problem, though. That was definitely a problematic ship.
It was.
The Death Egg was pretty problematic, but we don't know exactly why, because we don't know what it does, but we know it was problematic. The Egg Carrier, that's a pretty problematic ship, to be honest with you. I don't know. I feel like all those are pretty toxic ships. I wouldn't go with any of them, to be honest with you. Anyway, I think this is the point where the show just needs to take a break.
Yeah, we'll be back with more BumbleKast.
Okay.
And we're back, and we're starting off with our weekly giveaway. Folks who follow us on our Twitter, our Blue Sky, our Tumblr, our Facebook, and Instagram.
Correct.
Haha, I remembered. Every week you get a chance to get your own question here on the show, free of charge.
We are going to do that right now with someone from Blue Sky. This one comes from Lily. Is there an intent to redeem Surge?
I'm not going to spoil it one way or the other. You'll just have to keep reading to see what happens to her.
Redeem her for what? Like a soda? Like a prize? Can you get a prize? Can Surge be redeemed for prizes?
For a rival of equal or lesser value. Not available in all states and territories.
Who's a rival of lesser value than Surge?
Pseudosonic.
Yeah. Scourge. Sorry, Scourge fans. You gotta admit, he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah, but that's why we love him.
But that's kind of his appeal. He's kind of dumb. Then again, he's Sonic, so it makes sense. Here's a question from Noni. Sup, got a question from the Zeddy Cult fan Discord. Of course there's a Zeddy Cult Discord. Dear Ian Flynn, why is Master Zeke so hot? Is it just his raw charisma? Also, is he single or does some other lucky Zeddy have that on lock?
So, considering the Force being used by Saiyans, I really don't know how it would move even onto that planet, because it requires at least a degree of communing with nature, and they were very much not in touch with their environment. They were marauders, planet conquerors, civilization destroyers, so maybe they couldn't actually be in touch with the Force.
Ian!
What?
That's not what this question is about.
I know.
You're having flashback.
No, I'm escaping. I'm going to.
Why are you escape? You can't escape. These people paid for their questions to be answered, Ian, and you're just going to ignore them?
I'm paying for the questions, is what's happening.
Oh no!
Once again, I do not endorse or deny any ships.
This isn't about ships.
It is about them shipping themselves with a talking raisin.
You know what? It's fine. Let them do what they're going to do.
That's what they want. Huzzah! The two of you can ride your giant flying apple into the sunset. Mazel tov. I do not endorse. I do not deny.
So you can find hot Zeddy in your area.
It's Lost Hex with an H.
Lost Hex? One like Lost Hells. Rockamillion has a question. Ian, I saw someone recently ask if you hate writing tales. While I think it's odd they didn't elaborate at all, and it came across as accusatory, on some level, I kind of understand where they're coming from. I've mentioned before, I feel you've disrespected tales in the past, and I don't entirely agree with the way you write tales. Sometimes it feels like you go out of your way to make Tails weaker than all the other characters, and keep it from having substantial interactions with anyone outside Sonic, and I hate that. It still bothers me that you refuse to give Tails a moment as substantial as his victory over the Eggwalker in SA1, where he didn't require gadgets or help from others. Tails defeated the mech by himself, and it felt so triumphant and satisfying. You once said it's your favorite Tails moment. If true, I won't let you let Tails achieve another great feat like that, which proves both his strength and courage. Tails is a great hero and equal to Sonic now, not a sidekick.
I'm sorry you feel that way. Thank you for supporting the show, though.
Thank you. Scourge Time has a question. In the old days, there was one thing we know Scourge liked to do, flirting with girls. Now he's with Fiona, he behaves, at least from what we know. But who would his top 5 gals be and why? From Mobius and Moebius.
I don't think he's faithful so much as he didn't have an opportunity to not be. Like, he hooked up with Fiona and they were pretty business-oriented for a while. Traveling, working with Finitivus, all that jazz. I can't imagine he would actually honor and respect anyone for an extended period of time on purpose. And likewise, I don't think he has a top 5 because that implies some degree of desire and respect for people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, hey, I'd hit that, and he does. Like, maybe it would cross his mind that if he hooked up with somebody, it would cause Sonic discomfort, and that might be a driving force. But I mean, I think as long as it had a pulse and was vaguely feminine, he'd probably go for it.
Yeah, and even then.
I mean, I don't even want to limit him to that much, because who knows? He might just, hook up with anybody out of spite.
Probably.
I mean, we see his preference, but I don't know. Spite drives a hedgehog to do anything. Many things.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, he is a Scourge, so why limit himself? Be awful.
Yeah. Scourge's favorites are the red one, the brown one, the red one, the green one. What do you mean they have names? The one with eyes, the one without eyes.
I almost said, are you implying bivalve? But yeah, why not?
I don't know. Scurvy Pirate Dog has a question. By pure luck, Eggman trips, knocks himself out, making it so that Snively can lock him in a closet, and has now taken over the Eggman Empire. It's now up to Starline, Agent Stone, and Thunderbolt to put aside their differences and save the Eggman and bring him back to the top of the Empire. How does it go?
Initially, pretty well. Unified by the singular vision to save their master, I think they would, consciously work together to stop the common threat. Usurp Snively.
Yeah.
Get back in Eggman's good graces. It's once they've succeeded that they reach the problem threshold, because who gets credit? Who has the honor of opening up the closet? Who gets to say, Master, I'm here for you? And then it becomes a 3-way battle, which knocks them all out, and then Snively locks them in closets as well.
Yes. And then Sage comes in and is like, I have to do everything around here, don't I?
I go decompile for 5 minutes and everything falls apart.
I don't know why Starline would be in the closet. Feels like he's been out for years.
Kyle, no, don't you do it.
Tell me I'm wrong. Sege has a question. Which is your favorite Tootin' Mean-Age Needle Teedle?
Angel McLeo.
Angel McLeo. Well, my favorite's Tonadello.
Second place goes to Alpha Rail.
Alpha Rail? Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Alpha Rail.
Yeah. I'm a Donnie guy. Although I do like Mikey. I like both of them.
Leonardo is underappreciated. I acknowledge that, but still.
Yeah. Still. Spoiler 1001 has a question. When Anti-Sonic was pretending to be Sonic, he made a comment that suggested that Kintelber used landmines. Are they only used against Scourge, or does he use them a bit more often?
That's a weird one, since Kindlebor otherwise has been portrayed as a pacifist. So all I can imagine is that they're like somehow non-lethal landmines.
I would assume they're like used for demolition and not necessarily for like murdering, not for war.
I mean, when you're up against Scourge, you need something.
Yeah, true.
Or maybe they're like gigantic bubble traps. You run across one and whoop, you're stuck in a bubble.
They're big foam grenades. Boom.
Maybe they're like tiny localized teleporters, so he keeps blipping to other parts in the field and can't figure out which way is forward.
Yeah.
There's some fun to be had there.
Yeah. Here's one from Steph Cube. What do you think about some people that take the Sonic Twitter takeovers as if they were canon facts to video games? I'm sure that those dialogues are more just parodies that should not be taken seriously. I mean, if they were seriously canon with the characters of the games, that would mean that Shadow would marry anyone who met his 3 conditions, and that is already strange. Is it? I don't know.
I can understand to a degree where some of the confusion come from, since they are working off of canon basis.
It's informed by canon.
Yeah, the jokes are based off of what is canonical. But the jokes themselves are not necessarily. Think of it more like kind of a green room fourth wall breaking, the cast is off the set, Super Mario Brothers 3 style. I was
going to say,
and just riffing and having fun.
I was going to say, it treats them more like they're like actors.
Yeah, it's more for funsies. And if something happens to bleed over in the canonicity, then it's kind of a happy happenstance.
Yeah.
It's like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Don't think about it too hard. Just have fun.
If you're wondering how they eat and breathe and other science facts, just repeat to yourself, it's just a video game series. You should really just relax. Here's one from Sunblister16. Surge temporarily reverts back to who she was before Starline's brainwashing. A Sonic superfan. They go on a few dates and everything is fine. That is, until she goes back to normal, retaining all memories of the time she spent with a completely different personality. What chaos ensues?
Kind of depends on when she snaps back to reality. Like, if they're in the middle of a dinner date, there might be projectile vomit. If it's as she's en route to when they're going to meet up for somewhere, she might continue there because she knows he's going to have his guard down. And he'll be like, what up? And she's like, hey, Zot! You know, what better time to strike than when he's not expecting it?
Pretty much, yeah.
And then once he's dead, she can spend the next like hour and a half pacing in a circle going, ew, 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 no, wrong, ew, 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 ew.
And destroying everything they built together. Yes. Murder it all. All right. We got our next question here. Uh-oh, it's for me.
It is. It comes from Switchell. I have terrible news, Kyle. You've died and reincarnated as Starline in issue 11. Despite your best efforts, you're forced against your will to live out the same choices and actions Starline made in the comics. But you're aware of the fourth wall and can see the writers and artists creating the story, and you're also going slightly off script without making any drastic changes to the story. You find you're unable to call out Ian directly or make any direct references to real-world people or things, but just maybe you can communicate to him and save yourself from Starline's inevitable doom that you are aware of. So, Dr. Starkraus, how do you call out to Ian and try to convince him to change the story and save your life without getting the ability to directly address him? And Ian, be honest, would Kyle's plan work?
I don't know how I don't know how this would even work. So I can't make references to real things. I can't do anything. Like, everything has to play out exactly the same way. Even though I know all of Starline's plans are stupid and he shouldn't do them. I don't know how I would do this. Do I try and make like sly references to BumbleKast? Like, I don't know how I would pull that off. Do I try and make references to like, radio, podcast? I don't know what I would do. Do I reference like Archie Sonic stuff? Do I like make references to things that that Starline shouldn't know about? But I can't, because I can't reference anything from real life. I don't know how.
Well,
I don't know how I would do this, Ian.
I'll save you the stress. It's a little fatalistic. You can't.
I was going to say, I really can't.
Because I would submit the script.
Yeah.
And it would go to the art team and it would go to the proofer. So your reality wouldn't manifest until it's published.
Yeah.
So at best, I would be seeing the review copy and going, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I wonder what Kyle will think of this when I talk to him next. I haven't seen him in a bit.
You'll be confused. We haven't recorded a BumbleKast in a few months. So
that could be like an incredibly terrifying episode of the Twilight.
Or is
someone realizes that they're doomed to die within a comic book and are doing their best to try to fight the prearranged destiny before them, only realizing once it's published, reality is set. They can't stop it.
You can't stop it, no. So does that mean if I take over Starline's body, does that mean he's taken over mine in real life? He would hate that. He would hate it.
I think you're making fun of me. Like, why are you doing my bad Starline impression whenever we record, Kyle? Like, give it a rest. The joke's old by now.
It's like I can't do a Starlight impression, which makes it even funnier. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's funny because Starline would be a terrible me, so I guess it makes sense. Terrible. Awful. Oh no. Oh well. I just can't do it. He can't do my laugh. That's true, yeah. Oh well. Well, I guess I'm just resigned to my fate of forever living in this comic book until I get crushed and go on my own isekai adventures. Guess that's what would happen. Here's one from Tetsuya the Wise. Good news, you've got a wealthy benefactor that's willing to pay for the full production of Drogoon. However, you have to include the donor's OC, Poochie. And whenever Poochie's not on the page, all the other characters have to ask, where's Poochie? Do you accept the deal?
No. It would take me longer than I like to admit to click delete on that email offer. But no. Drogoon is meant to be my escape from licensed material. A story I get to tell on my own terms, with collaboration with Adam, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But no international concerns, no oversights, no editors, no licensors, no groupthinks, just me and Adam.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, not going to ride around to Poochie. This is mine. I am free of the shackles.
But Ian, where's Poochie?
Unless there's like an agreement to do like a Poochie free edition, in which case I can ride around that hurdle. They can have their custom Poochie edition, and then I can publish the rest of it by itself with like 5 less pages.
Okay. Who is Poochie? We don't know. It's the creator's OC. It's the donor's OC. The wealthy benefactor who is apparently really, really into Drogoon, but also really, really into their OC and wants their OC in Drogoon.
Maybe we can reach a compromise and I can just write Poochie's adventures in the Drogoon universe.
Yeah.
Quarantine it.
Well, I mean, you could just have him die on the way back to his home planet.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't think that would go over well with the donor.
Yeah, well, maybe the donor shouldn't have named their OC Poochie. Seems like a personal problem for them. All right, the Oddly Roger has a question. I'm finding myself getting into and managing creative projects again, with some of them being long-term. How do you two maintain the passion to keep working on a project that demands constant attention and effort, and how do you avoid mental exhaustion, boredom, and burnout? Any insights or anecdotes are appreciated. Thanks.
Kind of feel like this is the blind leading the blind here.
The real thing is that a good motivation is needing to do it in order to survive.
Yeah, there's that. But
Yeah.
that kind of tinges things with a bit of bitterness.
Makes it dark. Yes, that's a little dark and also not fun. But
depending
also
on
true.
how well you manage your schedule, you may need to do a daily itemized list of things. Like right now, I've got so many plates spinning and stuff that I want to do, and I'm getting frustrated that I haven't been able to accomplish everything. It's like, okay, sit down and list it out. Because I have, what do they call it? Executive dysfunction, where it's like, okay, I have 45 minutes before this thing has to happen. Well, I can't start anything because then I would have to stop it in 45 minutes. No, bad.
Yeah, I can't. I have that problem too, where like, oh, I have a thing later today. I can't do anything now. I can't do anything until that's done.
And if that gets rescheduled or if it happens too early, then that throws everything else off. So what I'm trying now is like a day by day, hour by hour list of here's what needs to be accomplished in these times. And when there's blank spaces, go, okay, that's the free spot. That's where anything else can happen. And that's okay. And if it doesn't happen, that's okay because it wasn't scheduled. You have the goal markers to meet, and then there's a little bit of wiggle room around it. I'm not sure how well it's working for me just yet. Just started, but thus far, it's kind of kept me on track. And the week's already not really working with me, so it's a stress test, but it's okay. Also, this is a long way of getting to the real point, which is make sure you take breaks.
Oh yeah.
Like you have, if you have to schedule them in, like here is my designated break time, make it ironclad. Unless there's like a meeting, a surprise meeting or like a deadline that insists that but really, really, really try to lock that in so that you walk away and don't use it as your downtime to think about the work. Break time is break time. That's food time. That's go for a walk time. That's do your exercise time. That's play a game. Don't go online. Don't read anything online. That's horrible. Watch a stupid cat video on YouTube. Something. Turn your brain off. Step away. Relax. Meditate. Whatever it is. Water your plants. Something. Vacuum. Do your chores. Then you'll feel accomplished and you'll take your brain off of it. Just make sure you find time for you, because then not only does it refresh you mentally and you're able to return to your work in a better capacity, but what you're working on doesn't feel like a burden anymore because you can put it down. You can step away. It will be there when you get back. And I know it's easier said than done. There are deadlines and there are other factors and blah, 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 blah. But this is something I struggle with myself. I know it's hard, but you have to find time for you. And if you have to, be aggressive with it. Like tell yourself, no, put it down. You're done. Step away.
Yes.
And anything else? If you hit a problem spot with the project, make a point of thinking about what was fun about it. That one part you had fun with, the moment where you really got things to click. Remind yourself why you're doing this and why it's fun, and acknowledge that once you get past the hard part, it'll be fun again. Hopefully.
Alrighty. We got a question here from the Phantomist. It's time for another monkey's paw. How many of these are we up to now? Where are these paws coming from?
We deforested at least one troop of chimps.
Where are these paws coming from? It's post-reboot, and you get to bring back Shard. The catch being, instead of basing him off of the original Metal Sonic, you have to base him off of Pseudo Sonic from Adventures of. How would you go about it? What changes would need to be made from Shard's pre-reboot personality? Where do you think you could slide him into the story? And no copying out and saying we already have Gemerald.
I may be mixing up my stories, because there were a few variations of Pseudo Sonic in like the comics and young reader material and the cartoon.
Yeah.
But wasn't he powered or piloted by like a little rat guy?
That wasn't in the comic, I don't believe.
But they specified adventures of.
Yeah.
Like, I seem to remember Robotnik tricks him into piloting Pseudosonic.
I think Adventures of is where that happens. But in Archie, he's just a robot, right?
But the Phantom is specified Adventures of.
In Adventures of, he was piloted by a rat, yes.
Okay, so
we'll go with that one,
right
I guess.
That right there means the rat is Shard's personality. That's where the character comes from. And that means we're free to abandon Pseudosonic because the real character is the pilot, which means he can climb into the kick-ass Metal Sonic 3.0 styled robot and just pilot that.
There you go.
We give Shard's personality to the rat. We put him in the same cool body. Boom. We're good.
Yep. You fixed it. Yeah. I think that's all you need to do. You got it. You figured it out. You rode around it again. Good job. Twitlord has a question. What was Starline up to during the Black Arms invasion? Because I want to stop assuming he was the leader of the only city council on the planet that tried to side with the invaders.
No, he wouldn't side with the Black Arms because they're trying to eat him.
Yeah, they're trying to eat him, and they're trying to eat Eggman.
Like, if he had time, maybe he's watching Eggman's forces fight the invasion and going, "Go, Doctor, go!" But otherwise, no, he's running, he's hiding, he's doing his best to survive.
Yeah. Yes, that's right here. Yes, he's busy being the worst HOA enforcer. Oh, God. So evil. Very evil. Oy. Venus has a question. Suddenly, the Sonic world is merged with the world of Mobile Fighter G Gundam, which means the residents of Neo United Federation have to take part in the quadra-annual Gundam Fight for Control of the Earth. What kind of Gundam does Eggman make? What's it called? And who does he choose to pilot it as a representative for the Neo United Federation? For the pilot, you can choose anyone from Sonic canon except Metal Sonic or Sage. I want him to have to really think about who he chooses to pilot this thing.
Who is he gonna? He's gonna pilot it. What are you talking about?
I was gonna say, who's he gonna choose? Yeah, himself.
He's not gonna build a mech and give it to somebody else. Are you insane?
He thinks he's the cool. He thinks he's the best. Yeah, of course. He thinks he's the only one who can handle it.
Unless there's some stipulation where the national leader can't participate, they have to send a proxy. So, as the Egg Emperor of the Eggman Empire, he would be disqualified.
Well, that's stupid.
In that event, he's basically just going to build a Metal Sonic Kai Gundam.
Yeah.
And put Sonic in it for the laugh because, now Sonic has to pilot Metal Sonic.
Oh, the irony. What would he call it? I mean... You had the Egg Shogun, the IDW. Egg Shogun Z. That's not really a...
Called the Metal Egg Gundam. EGGUNDAM.
It's just, it's the Egg Gundam. Yeah, pretty much.
Really, I just want an excuse for Roger Craig Smith to scream out, "Take it! My love, my anger, and all of my sorrow!"
I didn't know Sonic had so much of that. I didn't know he had so much anger and sorrow. All right, we got one last question, and it's from Wildcard717. For both Ian and Kyle, is there any question that you've always wanted to be asked on the BumbleKast but has never been brought up? No, but there have been plenty that have been asked that I wish weren't.
Many of them in this episode.
Hey, Spampton, what's up? I mean, it's not Master Zeke's fault he's hot. I mean... Look, I'm not in the Zeddy cult Discord, but whatever
you're an enabler.
Whatever they're up to in there, I don't know.
can't think of anything
I
off
mean,
the top of my head.
honestly, it has been like we have gotten so many questions, and it's been such a ride that there's no.
That's
I can't
true.
think of anything that we haven't been asked about.
We've even touched on some of the philosophical stuff that I wanted to, get on my soapbox for every now and again.
Yeah.
I know what the driving force of this show is, but I do appreciate it when folks ask stuff outside of Sonic.
Yeah.
I like the questions about, the philosophy and the structure to the craft. I like questions that can prompt me to promote stuff that I've worked on that I have, deeply personal investment in, and it's free promotion.
Yep.
But we've had those, and I appreciate them when they come in. But I like doing something a little different every so often. And
I don't know. I just think it's fun to do the show. I like to hang out with my friend Ian and have a laugh.
Yeah,
and hang out with the chat and have a laugh and just talk about silly stuff about this Blue Hedgehog franchise and anything else that comes up. It's just fun. I'm okay with whatever, I
mean, maybe stuff that are like the kind of questions you ask when you're like 5 years old on the playground. What's your favorite dinosaur? What's your favorite planet? What's your favorite Star Wars obscure character? That kind of stuff. That's fun.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Yeah. Then we can just
we've done
riff on things that we like and get incredibly overly hostile when we don't agree on the ice cream flavor. We play it up and we go completely nuts with it, and people understand that we're having fun and they have fun.
Yeah.
Except for the people who think we're being serious and worry that the show's going to be canceled because we're fighting over ice cream.
who worry that we actually now hate each other because of, I don't know, because you don't like cheese much.
Yeah.
You're not a big fan of cheese. You're not a big fan of cheese. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, give me the cheese. Give me the cheese.
But you see, that works out because you can have my cheese.
Yeah.
I will happily gift you
Yeah.
all of my cheese, Kyle.
Good, thank you, because I will take it and I will eat it, just like that potato chip.
And while you're distracted with all that cheese, that last chicken nugget is mine.
No! All right, on that note, I think we've had enough.
We have had more than enough. Thank you to everybody who supports the show over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or by being a YouTube member. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, share your chicken nuggets, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
No, those nuggets are mine.
Kyle, it's like a platter of 35. You can share some.
My nuggets. My nuggets. Oof, my nuggets. In the old days, there was one thing we know Scourge liked to do. Flirting with girls. But who would his top 5 gals be and why? From Mobius and Moebius.
I think you skipped the middle part, or did you cut out?
Oh, I did. Oops. I don't know why. Oh, okay. They're kind of aligned, and I'm just dumb. Okay, I'll reread it. Gone from skipping questions to skipping entire sentences within questions.
I thought I had a minor stroke because you just read it so naturally. I'm like,
yeah. I'm also having a minor stroke, apparently.
Please don't.
Okay. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. No, it's cream of wheat is literally just like wheat that's been like ground up. So ground up, you put it in water. There you go. It's that stuff. 10-minute instant cream of wheat, man. Well, it's not quite instant. It's 10 minutes, but that's super cheap. That comes in a box. It's kind of like grits. You can't find it there? Just order it online. It's not like it'll like expire. It's not like it's not like it has to be cold. Just to have it shipped to you. Put it in a box. Order it online. Yeah, it's very similar to grits if you've had grits. It's cream of wheat. It's a little bit like grits. So anyway, porridge. Yeah, there we go. It's porridge. That's a good way to call it. Anyway, can you give me a level check real quick, Ian?
Level check 1212. Level check 1212.
All right, we're good. We call it fine. We'll call it. I'll say it's good. I'll say you're fine. I'll say it's okay.